So the question is, who's crazier? The mother pushing her son on a swing for 44 hours, or the people who watched her and did absolutely nothing? For the people that seen her one day, went to sleep, woke up, and she's still there, pushing that child. I mean, who's crazier? Now, I heard about this story 10 years ago. All I remember was police had arrived to a mother pushing a deceased child in a swing, and I hadn't heard anything else about the story. Her name is Romechia Sims, 24, and her son Ji'Aire Lee, 3 at the time. They arrived at the park La Plata in Maryland. Ji'Aire was very much alive when he was placed in a swing by his mother. People that were there witnessed her, and they said she, quote, wasn't right in the head, end quote. So there were witnesses that this child was alive. Now, people who live around that area of that park, or was at the park that day, they witnessed her pushing the toddler for what they said was a, quote, unusual amount of hours, end quote. That amount of hours was 44 hours. She stood there for almost 2 days, short of 4 hours of a 2-day period, pushing her son in a swing. Now, by the time police were called and they went to the park, Ji'Aire was still in the swing, but he was deceased. Now, naturally, Romechia was arrested, and she was charged with manslaughter in the death of her child, and that is when the investigation would start. The autopsy reports would show that her son was alive when he was placed in the swing, and that he died of hypothermia and dehydration. Now, you have to understand, he's a child. He was barely 3 or 3 years old when he passed away. Us adults, we can probably go 2 days without some type of fluid. He succumbed to the elements as well. Romechia had been diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar, and hadn't been getting adequate mental health treatment. Now, there are various signs of schizophrenia, but the one that I want to focus on is compulsion, aimlessness, movements, and bizarre routines that seems to fit well with what Romechia was doing for those 2 days. That would be a person with chronic schizophrenia or catatonic schizophrenia. I'm not a doctor, but these could have been what Romechia was going through at the time, those 2 days. She stood in the same place for 44 hours. The only movement was her pushing her child. The aimless movement, back and forth with her hands. Was her mind there? Obviously not. Maybe that was a catatonic symptom. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I'm trying to describe to some people that have no idea how someone could stand there for almost 2 days and just push a child. Was this baby crying in the beginning? Was he screaming, yelling? Was he saying, "Mommy, stop? Mommy, get me out of here"? Almost 2 days. Now, many of you would agree with me that after an hour, I would have been very much concerned if I was still in the park and I saw a woman constantly pushing a child and not moving. I would have been very much concerned. And the fact that people were saying that she wasn't right in the head. But these days, who knows? Police showing up, right? She may have been the person to die, but obviously it seems that somebody was going to die. I mean, from what we know with law enforcement, we know that they're not trained to deal with people with mental illnesses, so I just don't know. However, law enforcement did end up showing up. Now, a judge would later say that she was not responsible for the death of her son. Now, I went on her Facebook page and I see that the public posts that are available. She, as early as May of this year, did a selfie, and in around 2015, she had wished her son, happiness in heaven. Now, a lot of people have said, why didn't she give her son to her mother? Why not the father? Are we not forgetting in these situations that it does take two people to have a child? And I say it over and over again. I know many men that have brought up their children. The mothers did not want these kids, and they have brought up their children. They have been single fathers. Now, Ji'Aire's father's name is James Lee. Here is a picture of him with his oldest son at the time, Jamari 9, and Ji'Aire. He had asked for full custody of Ji'Aire 2 months before Ji'Aire died. He went to the judge and asked. Now get this, not only does he have his own apartment and he works at a mental health institute. And he started to feel that something wasn't right. The mother of his child, he knew of her to jump out of a taxi with Ji'Aire, that she would walk around midnight, after midnight, with her child. So he wanted full custody. And they were also living in a motel. But yet, he feels that men are overlooked when it comes to this situation. That I guess they rather give the child to a woman that is known to be mentally ill and staying in a motel unemployed than a man that is sane, has an apartment, works, and you see he has a 9-year-old who's treated very well by him. So that's a shame. That's a shame that they gave this child still back to the mother. I'm not going to even really get into all that, but I wanted to point it out, that there was a father in the picture, and a father who very well could have taken care of his child. Now, unfortunately, he now has a deceased son, a son that passed away in such a tragic way, getting pushed on the swing set for almost 2 days. I mean, terrible. But this is the story here of a little boy that passed away on a swing set. Rest in peace, Ji'Aire Lee.